Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Screen Scene Guru coming at you with another movie review video, and I've got some industry scoops for you, so be sure to stay tuned for all that good stuff. Starting off, based on the thumbnail guys, I'm going to do a review of Mission Impossible. This is 8, The Final Reckoning, even though they just got greenlit, seems to be for a 9th movie. Very exciting news. So let's go into this real quick. Final Reckoning. Watched it on Paramount Plus, so I streamed it. This did come out last year in 2025. It was 2 hours and 49 minutes, so I want to say it's the longest in the franchise. Very great installment. I had a blast watching it. Ethan, of course, has the mission to save the world from his past mistakes. I thought that was very cool. The tie-ins. This one did connect all of the previous installments, so really cool stuff there with the lore. Going into the entity, the choice of making the AI villain. I didn't really like the last Mission Impossible, which was titled Dead Reckoning. Of course, they had to do a name change with this one, calling it The Final Reckoning instead of Part 2. But Ethan Hunt must regain control of IFM, or IMF, Mission Impossible Force, pursue the dangerous AI called the Entity that's infiltrated the globe's intelligence with governments at a fight for control of nuclear weapons. So really awesome stuff here. Thought the cast was really well picked out for this one, this installment. Of course, we got Tom Cruise returning. We got Angela Bassett as the president, Lady First, Madam President. We got, let's see, going into the IMDb real quick. Haley Atwell, Grace, got to do a really big role in this one, which I'm a big fan of hers. We got Ving Rhames as Luther, had a really big role in here. Unfortunately, he passed. We lost Luther, so it made it more of an emotional tie into this one. Simon Pegg had a really good role in this movie as well. And of course, Palm Clementine, who was Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. She's really good in this as Paris. Gabriel, I thought, was a weird, interesting take for a villain in the last installment, Dead Reckoning. This one just makes it that much of an obvious choice that he was a weird villain. Saying that he's going to get control of the entity, trying to get the keys, of course, these 2 keys, which that plot was kind of all over the place. Going on, let's see, we got Nick Offerman join the cast this one, so that was really cool. We got Henry Chechme, who was Kettridge, so the villain from the first movie. Really cool. We got a call out to John Voight from the first movie as well, so that was really cool. We didn't expect that. We got Charles Parwell as Richards. He was like an intelligence officer, but he was also in Top Gun Maverick, so really cool to see he got Maverick stars to be in this last Mission Impossible. And he was working a lot more with the government, just the different branches of the military. So that was a really cool Americana story where he had to work with the Navy and he had to get to the submarine. They were trying to fight the Russians. So very classic spy, awesome movie that we just haven't gotten a lot of these days. But the script was kind of all over the place, so I want to let you guys know. Tremel Tillman was Captain Bledsoe. Really good role in this. I'm hoping he's going to be very good in Spider-Man. He's getting a whole lot of roles. But yeah, really cool stuff from the whole cast. But the story was kind of all over the place. But Christopher McQuarrie directed, and Christopher McQuarrie directed, I think, like the last 3 Mission Impossibles. He's talking now with Arnold Schwarzenegger to come back to do a King Conan story. So that's a really cool thing if they actually do it. Because back in the day, they had Conan comic books that were really cool. I actually have some in my collection right now. Pull out, I've got a What If Wolverine battled Conan the Conqueror, or the Barbarian. So pretty cool stuff there. I'm wondering if they're going to try to do some stuff like this in the upcoming franchise. I'm not sure exactly if they will. This is just, crossing my fingers, hoping. But King Conan, I'm really excited about that storyline coming out. I do have a bit of industry movie notes to talk about for the Screen Scene Guru lovers. I do have 87 subscribers, so thank you very much for everyone supporting my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, Facebook, all kinds of places. But real quick, I do want to mention, if you guys haven't heard updates from me in a while, this is like my only second or third video in March. We now are on March 19th, so Project Hail Mary comes out tomorrow. Really excited about that. Even though we heard some reviews, it's going more towards the comical side of things and the science-based, how the book was. Don't mind that. Still looking forward to it. But I do want to bring up Sony Studios has reportedly canceled their Uncharted 2 with Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg. Not too surprised by this. I mean, the franchise, that first one was just so terrible. They don't want to go on and waste the money if they don't think it's not going to be a good script. Maybe they'll wait a few years, come up with a better cast. Not sure if that's going to be happening or what. Paramount still has yet to admit where 97% of their money for this deal to acquire Warner Brothers is coming from. Is it, the United Arab Emirates, or is it somewhere else in the Middle East? With our conflicts going on over there, it's very questionable whether or not this deal will go through. So going on, covered some of this stuff already, so I just want to cross that out. Let's see. So we did have a March Mario Day, which I was not aware of, but apparently March 10th was Mario Day, so I just want to bring awareness to that. They did release a new extended trailer. They had a Nintendo Direct event, which I watched, where they announced the voice cast of several of the characters in the upcoming Super Mario Galaxy movie, which is in April. We know that Childish Gambino will voice Yoshi, which is a big shock. Apparently he's a hardcore game fan. We've also got Louis Guzman, who will voice Wart, so that's a big thing. He's from Waiting and other franchises. Honey Queen will be voiced by Issa Rae, so that's big. A neighbor is now coming forward to say she saw a suspicious man in the Nancy Guthrie case. Now it's been well over a month, and they're still reviewing neighbors' Ring camera footage, trying to get information on the suspect. So far, the FBI, local law enforcement have nothing, and this General Major is also missing from the Air Force. That's breaking news, being covered around the world now by Ross Coulthart and others. But for a long time, it wasn't being covered at all, and now it is. So that's going on. Obsession. So there's a new trailer coming out. I'm not sure exactly what studio it is, but it looks like an interesting concept for a horror film. I saw the teaser trailer, not the official trailer they dropped, but Obsession is a new horror film. I think it's already out. The director of Aang, The Last Airbender from Paramount, is giving his flowers out. He's saying it's an iconic film. It deserves to be seen on the big screen. But of course, we know it's coming to digital on Paramount Plus. Amazon announced the first bit of news about Voltron, which is pretty interesting. In 2027, it's going to be on the streaming service. Unfortunately, another iconic anime. It's only going to be put on streaming, not in theaters. So I'm wondering what they're thinking. And we just had a historic 2025 of anime movies making a lot of money. Sterling K. Brown from Paradise is going to voice as Zarkon, an alien in the Voltron franchise. That's pretty cool. I like Sterling K. Brown. He's getting only more infamous from Paradise on Hulu. And then, of course, we got Will Ferrell will be in a new golf show called The Hawk. You guys might have seen ads for it. They were originally going to call the show just Golf, but then they ended up having to give it a title, which weren't just ridiculous. But I'm looking forward to this. You know, I'm a big fan of the Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore films, so, you know, Will Ferrell can give his own crack at it, if you will. Kate Winslet has joined the hunt for Gollum, and a lot of people have speculated, will she be Gollum's wife? Who's she going to play in this role? I mean, what could they do? Is she going to be an elf? Who is this? Who are they? Why are you running? The infamous meme. But Jon Stewart apparently is going to have a major role in Man of Tomorrow, the next Superman film. So that's telling me that he's going to have a big role in Lanterns as well. Kyle Chandler. Of course, Jon Stewart is going to be played by, oh gosh, I'm thinking of it, Aaron Pierre, new actor. He was in Rebel Ridge, very good on Netflix. We got Supergirl gets her third composer for music, which is very interesting. You know, they try to get a good sound and vibe with these DC movies because of James Gunn. The fact they're getting a new composer this late in the game. I mean, the movie's not coming out till July, but it is interesting. Update from Universal. They plan to extend their theatrical release dates up to 45 days. So starting next year in 2027, they will have their movies in theater just as long as every other studio, which is interesting. They're slow to the game when it comes to facts and information, but Universal is starting to realize they're not keeping their movies in theaters long enough. They do have a contract, a deal with Peacock to drop their movies on streaming. Of course, that makes them no profits. So they are learning the hard way to keep their movies in-house in the exhibitions, if you will. Some people prefer to call the theater exhibitions, like Ted Sarantos. But yeah, the experiences, I guess tomorrow it should be, or sometime around March 20th, they're going to announce a new CEO for Disney, and it's going to be the Experience Man, Josh Demuro, not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he was their parks supervisor. So, and he also ran the cruise line, which has made them money the last few years. So they are revitalizing the studio, which is pretty cool. Disney launches worldwarz, which is like a horizontal, upright version of watching clips of things. And if you like the clips, it'll recommend the shows or movies the clips are from. This is very much like TikTok, and we've seen the formats of these streaming services start to change, where you're selecting things from. Worldwarz sounds very much like an experimental thing on Disney. Not sure if it will last, but we'll see. Scream 8 news. Kevin Williamson, Williamson. Anyway, the writer, director of the last Scream movie, the writer of the first Scream. He's officially left the franchise. He said he wants to essentially be a consultant, but he doesn't want to do the next one. So he's not going to be writing or directing Scream 8. And he says this should be the last story with Sidney Prescott, too. What do you guys think about that? Those are some spicy comments coming out of the director. Alien Romulus 2 has some official news breaking, guys. We got Michael Skarnowski, who was the director of Quiet Place Day 1, which I liked that film. It was a smaller, personal film in a horror disaster universe. He's set to direct the next Romulus. We're not sure what the title is, but really excited about this franchise going forward. I loved Romulus, so Romulus 2, let's go. And with the Quiet Place Day 1 director, he was pretty good. We already got the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, which I'm going to be making a separate video about, but it is out online, so you guys can check it out. Very amazing, great graphics from Dustin Daniel Cretton. He did direct Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. He was pretty good in that as well. Let's see. Moving on, we've got... There has been some Bigelow news in the aerospace industry stuff. We've got Robert Bigelow reportedly had a text chain leaked between a reporter friend of his, and the reporter friend was asking him about a private dinner that he attended with Trump, the current sitting president. And in the text chain, they discuss Robert Bigelow wanted to supposedly suggest a soft disclosure to this administration and that they release these files. And so a lot of this stuff apparently is a Bigelow design. A lot of people are questioning what he gets to gain out of this. Maybe some new aerospace contracts like SpaceX has been getting and other companies. We're not exactly sure. This could be a money grab situation similar to the whole Blind Frog Ranch, or sorry, Skinwalker Ranch, and when he worked with former sitting congressperson, I'm trying to remember his name, Harry Reid. Might have been similar to that, where Harry Reid financed him NIDS to study the phenomenon. He might be going to this administration saying, we need funding for this. So it's all a big rigmarole, spinning the narrative. But yeah, very interesting. Disclosure Day dropped a new trailer. Spielberg approved. And he was recently at South by Southwest talking about what he knows about disclosure. The 2017 article, Leslie Headland was there. Several other people in the ufology that were pretty big known were there to listen to him speak. And he essentially said he doesn't know anything else that the public doesn't already know. And that's questionable because there's rumor from back when he was filming Close Encounters of the Third Kind in the 70s that his mother supposedly got a video of a saucer landing at Headland Air Force Base. And apparently the mother, Spielberg's mother, this is a rumor, she told Spielberg after the screening of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the end of the film is apparently an infamous recreation of the government video of the saucer landing at the Air Force Base. And she said she preferred Spielberg's version of it, which iconically means there was an iconic first take. There was a first film that was a government video. So very shocking stuff there. Moving on, we've got L.A. Larry Silverstein just bought the U.S. Bank Tower. So this is one of the biggest landmarks, one of the tallest buildings in L.A., the U.S. Bank Tower, and a known billionaire, infamous Larry Silverstein, just bought it. So I thought that was something to cover in the news. And then going on, the global gas prices have, of course, increased due to the conflict in Iran and the joint task force we are currently working with Israel, which is very concerning to some. There are currently people in the anti-terrorism task force coming forward to speak up against this administration's work with the government of Israel, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. But apparently the former anti-terrorism task force individual, I don't have his name, he's being investigated by the FBI, so that's not too good. Kash Patel has his number. So as soon as these people go out against Trump, they're immediately put on a list somewhere. So that it's quite shocking. Coast to coast, they have reported Bigfoot migrations in Ohio. So I want to just report on this real quick. Bigfoot trackers have reported that in the southeast direction of Ohio, so if you guys are familiar with that region, it's a migratory corridor, so along a river. They said 7 Sasquatch sightings in the area within a week, which is pretty big sightings. There usually aren't that many. So they're saying it's a flak of Bigfoot sightings in Ohio. So this does connect to the ufology, cryptids, other things going on. Supposedly there's been orbs seen in Iran since the attacks have began. They're not reporting on the orbs, of course, because they're saying there are missiles being shot down. there are videos being released on TikTok and other places, platforms. They're talking about light orbs, which even when they're shot at, they don't go away. So that is something to look at. The return to the moon and how things are going nuclear with the Artemis missions. So I watched a clip on Fox News. Don't recommend it, but I do watch them sometimes for their sensational stuff. And they were essentially saying there's a new spokesperson for NASA. Big ears. I call him Dumbo. But very interesting. He claims that the Artemis missions, there's going to be a launch every year, some manned, some unmanned. They're going to pick up where Apollo 17 left off. So why did we not go back to the moon? This is very much going into the realm of For All Mankind. If you guys watch that show, Apple TV, highly recommend it. It's basically a take on what if the Russians beat us to the moon? What if it was a red moon? And the government has to essentially get their act together, get NASA up and running. We have to start going to the moon, start mining. Then we discover, of course, the Russians were financed by the Americans. Very shocking show. It is a take on interpretive history, so there are some things that are different from what actually happened. For instance, instead of 9/11 happening, there is a bombing at the NASA Kennedy Center. So that's very shocking. And of course puts NASA back by a few years. But this current season is about to drop this month, I believe. So it's very interesting. Season 5. So going into that is really awesome. I was hoping for Project Hail Mary to go into some sci-fi, crazy stuff. But it sounds like a lot of the stuff from the books have been watered down. It's been very much more the comical elements have been brought forward. So that's going to happen. Dune 3 trailer dropped too, guys. The Dune 3 looks so good. They're not calling it Messiah. They're not calling it, anything else. It's part 3. Pattinson's joining cast. So they got Robert Pattinson returning, Rebecca Ferguson. We've got, Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya. Trying to remember who the general guy is. They've got, he was just in Weapons. Josh Brolin, I think, is his uncle. He plays a role. Jason Momoa's back, so it looks great, fantastic. Not sure what the script or the story is because I haven't read the Dune books, but the last 2 have been great. Hoping this one's going to be a darker, edgier tone. At least that's what Timothy Chalamet said in that interview with, I believe it was Matthew McConaughey. It was gritty, dark, out there. So that's cool. So yeah, the Strait of Hormuz, there was a bombing recently. We dropped a 500-pound bomb on an underwater tunnel that supposedly had missiles ready to bomb ships that were trying to come out of the strait. There's no information coming out about this besides the fact we blew up some subterranean tunnel that had missiles in it. It seems like they've talked about blowing up the strait for a while now to allow access for the cargo ships to go. Now they're doing it, so it's like, what's happening? I want to bring up Jeremy Corbell. Talked to Eric Burleson about representatives in the last hearing. This was the hearing in 2024, I believe, or 2025. It was very sketchy. A lot of the people thought they were spooks or government agents in the testimony. Apparently now, someone's coming forward. Well, Corbell outed it to Eric Burleson that someone in Nancy Mace's cabinet, a reporter, supposedly falsified documents in the Congress. So really shocking stuff that no one's really been called out on yet. That document of that Immaculate Constellation, now they know it's a program that was active in the late 70s into the early 80s. It says it lost funding in 86, but went on under different names. So the fact they're saying this was a falsery in the documents is very shocking. And what's going to happen with it? I mean, is there going to be anything that comes of this? We don't know. Chris Mellon is coming at Christopher Mellon, who was close to Luis Elizondo, but now he's not talking to him, has come out and asked for what kind of data does the Pentagon have with the UFO files? Underground Nevada, there are nuclear test areas that are now being talked about, these mile-long tunnels where there were underground nuclear tests. Really shocking stuff coming out from Mystery Wire. You guys should check out George Knapp's little clips he drops each week. Very good. Going back over old footage. History Legacy Media, if you will. The Department of Defense, power tunnels long enough to have train rails. So they were like massive, extensive underground tunnels. They had trains, so they were like riding rails, doing stuff. Atomic cannon. There was an atomic cannon tested out in Nevada. First time it was ever tested in the 80s, I believe. And then they say they decommissioned it. The fact they built an atomic cannon was like badass. They sent soldiers out in the desert to essentially test what the effect of radiation would do. Even though this was long after those fake cities had been blown up and other things, this was a different form of radiation, apparently less aggressive. But the fact they tested it on people in the desert was like crazy. Area 12, Doomtown. So this was iconic. They used this in cinema before. If you guys watched Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, that fake city that they blow up, there were many of them across the country that in certain towns were never detonated. The warheads were purposely moved. The fake towns remained, and you can actually still visit some of them and like look at them and check them out. V1A tunnel goes 1,200 feet down a Comet sub underground. So yeah, these guys were like extensively digging tunnels, and they were engineers, big time, people that geologists that knew how to study to carve out rock. Several states claim that it's connected to an underground train rail. So these states claim they've heard workings underground for decades. It sounds like trains or sounds like some kind of heavy construction. So there is supposedly this underground map of government facilities that are connected. You guys can check this out. It's a conspiracy. It's been on for a long time, but now they're trying to connect the dots. Amazon MGM spent $200 on the marketing of, Steven Spielberg's new film. I believe that's Universal, actually. I think, Universal is the one spending $200 million on Disclosure Day, which makes sense because it's about 79-year-old conspiracy. Well, almost 90-year-old conspiracy because Roswell went way back. But still, very interesting. They're going all out with this movie. Going on, we've got Sinners won the Oscars last couple of days. So going into the Oscar picks, we got Sinners won. Ryan Coogler won for Best Screenplay. So that was very interesting. Beat Timothée Chalamet. But I think that was because of his controversial take last few days. One Battle After Another won Best Picture. So I'm very happy to see that because that was a really good film. It also won Best Cast. One Battle After Another, which I thought was great. Jonathan Majors is still working on a movie from The Daily Wire. We don't know what the title is or what the project is set around, but just he's doing another project. And that footage of the Helmand Air Force Base alien landing was a fake. There's been rumors about this fake footage, the one that Spielberg's mom saw and then Spielberg made the movie about. NIDS was investigating the video and other videos of black triangles, and apparently NIDS said through their video analysis that they found no forgeries, so no fakes, and they said it would have cost too much money back in the day to fake the video because they didn't have the technology to fake it. It would have cost more to fake it than to actually have done it. So it's interesting that NIDS is saying the video is real, but other people are saying it's fake. And then the Carter administration had a Secret Service member saw the video of the UFO landing in color. So there's several different takes of the video. There's a black and white. There's one with a government stamp on it of like the time and date. I guess it's like a mission report kind of stamp. There's another video of the same. There's another take of that video in color. So that makes me question if they had it in black and white and color, it probably was most likely real. Ford claims that the government owned and showed off UFOs occasionally. So President Ford knew that the government had access to these saucers, and occasionally at these special military shows they would show them off, which is very interesting. He had to be invited to these special shows. They were similar to an Air Force show, but you had to have like a special slip, a pamphlet you'd turn into someone. They'd allow you onto the base to see the craft. So I'm not exactly sure how true these claims are either. You've heard about them before, but there's just more reports of them. And then the first Look at Crystal Lake series from Peacock. I'm pretty excited about Crystal Lake. It dropped on Friday the 13th, which was a great day to drop that news, guys. I mean, there's going to be 3 dates this year in 2026. We've already covered 2. The next Friday the 13th is going to be in November. So what are you guys going to do then? It's going to be pretty sick. I actually got a tattoo from Lord of the Rings that was pretty badass. It's going to be something to remember, experiences. Quiet Place 3 is still happening. Now, a lot of people are questioning it. Wasn't there a Quiet Place 3 with Day 1? Well, Day 1 was technically a prequel to the first 2 films. So there is a continuing story with Emily Blunt. Cillian Murphy was introduced in the second one. He's now returning. Jack O'Connell is going to be in the franchise from Sinners and 28 years later, The Bone Temple. We got Kathy O'Brien and Jason Clarke join the cast as well. So a big cast for The Quiet Place 3. Very interesting stuff there. Just going to check my social real quick to see if I have anything else to cover. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So real quick, cover this. So a new World War Z 2 is in the works at Paramount. Trachtenberg, which worked on the Predator franchise, is going to direct. Jeff Snyder hinted World War Z could be heading back to development, possibly under Dan Trachtenberg, with a new Paramount deal. So very good work from Jeff over at the Hot Mic. Then going on, we've got, after the latest reveal of the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, we got John Bernthal as Punisher. Got the Punisher van, which I'm a big fan of. There's rumor that he's going to be in the Iron Punisher suit. So the Iron Man suit that he gets, that he paints the Punisher symbol on. Not sure if this is true or not, but that would be really cool to see. Sylvester Stallone confirms he will be executive producing the Rambo prequel. So that's really cool. Avatar Fire and Ash wins Best Sci-Fi Film at the Saturn Awards. So that was really awesome for Saturn. The Meg may not be done yet. So Jason Statham, after his last film, Shelter, which I haven't watched it yet, but he does one of these every year, which is like an infamous, hero save the girl trope film, which is alright. I like those films. But I'm a big fan of The Meg. The Meg 2 was alright. It wasn't quite as good as the first one. But there are reports from Warner Brothers and CMC Pictures, haven't heard of them, that development for the Meg 3 Primal Waters, is going to happen, expected to return. Director Ben Wheatley said the franchise still has a lot more to explore. This one might not come out till 2028. So the Meg 3 current title is Primal Waters. So that's cool. I mean, the last one, they kind of did the trope of the Meg eating a T-Rex, and it was like 65 million years ago there was a Meg. But now what can they do with Primal Waters? Don't show. Let's see. Devil Wears Prada 2 is coming out. So that's really cool. Then going on. I've got. Oh yeah, Lilo and Stitch 2. So it's been confirmed after making $1 billion, they will do a Lilo and Stitch 2. It's coming out May 26th, 2028. So another film that's going to be a little bit off, but it is still coming. What did you guys think of all the news? Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow the video, or follow the channel, should I say, for more content. And I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye, and have a good one. Ciao.